The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some black, and she said, loves me some black news. She says, is it just me, or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
I'm your girl, the plainest Jane, and let's see what's happening in these virtual streets. You ready? All right now. This could be a crazy ride. I'm warning you now. What up and welcome back. I'm Jane, the plainest Jane, and over here I provide SERP in the form of black news and celebrity updates. Welcome back. I have honestly missed you all so much. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Come on in. Listen, y'all know what to do. You're on my bus. Y'all are on the Black News bus. It's a social media stroll. We talk about things going on inside of the celebrity world, the black celebrity world primarily. And we also talk about real black news and real black topics and problems that affect everyday people like you and me. So when you're on my bus, it's really important that you pay your fare. It's free. And that means just hit the thumbs up button. Okay. So listen, y'all know things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. And this one is heavy. This one is heavy. I'm going to get right into it. I'm sure all of us have heard by now. You might not have all the details, but baby, we're going to go through it all today. Cassie is an R&B singer from the 99s and the 2000s. And at one point she was signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records, right? She was signed to him and she's filing a lawsuit against him. They were in a relationship at one point as well. They've since broken up. She's went off, gotten married, and had her babies. And she's filing a $30 million lawsuit against him. And there is so much that we need to get over, okay, that we need to go over. So read the title, read the thumbnail, but that's not even half of the information. So we're going to be going through all of the court documents from start to finish. Y'all know how I do. I'm extremely thorough, and especially when it comes to court documents and court cases. This is a 35-page document that we're going to go over, but I want to give you a trigger warning to begin with. I owe you that. I have to give you a trigger warning because this stuff right here, baby, it's pretty insane. Okay. So for starters, I have never seen court documents with a trigger warning on them. And I'm going to get into showing you the court documents. We're going to get to that in just a moment. As you can see, we're right here in the court documents, and there's a trigger warning on the court documents themselves. Okay. There's a trigger warning on that. Do I sound good? Is the audio and everything good? Let me know if I sound great. Okay. Put a one in the chat if the audio and everything sounds okay. So we need to go over this stuff. And we're going to break it down. I'm going to give you a timeline. We're going to go through all of the accounts of what other people have said leading up into this over the course of basically 3 decades, dealing with Sean Puffy Combs, P. Diddy, Brother Love, whatever you want to call them. We're going over this stuff. You all deserve it. And I'm just grateful. I've missed you all so much. I hope that y'all are having an amazing week. Baby, this week in the news media has been, I'm just giving y'all time to load onto the bus. This week has been crazy in the media. I do have some thoughts on Keke Palmer. Absolutely. And I'll get to that maybe sometime tomorrow or well, later today. It's Friday. And I know, listen, the bus is late. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw I posted yesterday that the bus will be pulling off. Baby, the bus was late pulling off. Why? Child, I had to, but why isn't this criminal and only civil? You know what? That's a really good question, Jenny. Let me pull your question up on the screen. Really good. We've got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to break that down as well. This actually, P. Diddy is actually caught up in criminal and civil things related to sexual misconduct, right? Abuse, right? So we're going to get into all that. Definitely buckle in. Grab your pancakes. Y'all be sure to pass the syrup around. We're definitely going to get into all of these things. But here's the reason why the bus was late. Child, I had to swing past Carisha's house. And I told her to pack her bags. Come on outside, baby. We got to get you up out of there. Carisha, what are we doing? Did we see this lawsuit? Carisha, it's not safe. So I had to swing the bus around there to pick Carisha up. She wasn't ready. I had to help her pack. All right. So this is the reason why the bus was late. But no, in all seriousness, I wanted to make sure that I gathered all of this information and that I digested this information, that I had a really good understanding, and that I'm not just reading you like 2 or 3 articles and just reading through the documents. Same thing I do with the R. Kelly trial, right? I might come on late. I might come on at 11 p.m. I might come on at 2 a.m. But one thing about it, when I come on, I'm going to make sure I have a cohesive understanding of exactly what the hell I'm talking about. And y'all know when it comes to me in court documents, I'm extremely thorough. Okay. And I take it serious. I'm not finna come on here and be loud and wrong. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into this. Like I said, if you're just getting on the bus, and good morning. I know it's super early. It's literally 10:05 over here in Baltimore. And I'm so hot right now because I have to drink hot tea and Theraflu because I have like half a flu right now. So bear with me. My voice might be a little shaky, but I had to get into this. This is what woke me up. I haven't been live in like 4 weeks. I haven't given y'all any content in about like 4 or 5 weeks. Real life is more important than the internet. And the same way I tell y'all mental health is important, I'm also always taking that advice for myself. So while I'm giving y'all time to load onto the bus, let's go ahead and go through our itinerary and everything that we're going to be discussing today. Again, P. Diddy is caught up in the middle of this civil case, and he's also the subject of a secret criminal investigation per the NYPD, the New York Police Department. It is unclear if the criminal investigation that he is the subject of per the New York Police Department is specifically related to Cassie, but the NYPD has released information saying that he is at the center of a case. So we're going to get into both the civil and the criminal aspect of everything that P. Diddy is going through right now, pertaining to his misconduct, right? Also, we're going to be going over some gRAPE allegations. Take the G off. Y'all know what I'm saying. We in the first couple minutes of the video. You got to keep it clean. Male prosties, male sex workers, sex trafficking, all up and through this paperwork. HIPPA violations are in here as well. Extreme physical abuse leading to black eyes, other intense and savage beatings, self-harm ideations, threats, blowing up cars, and the confirmation of blown up cars. Shout out to Kid Cudi for coming up and speaking up. Also, there are allegations from Cassie stating that Sean Combs introduced her to a lifestyle of excessive substance abuse and illicit prescription addictions to satisfy Diddy's own addictions. In other words, keeping her so zooted and booted and out of it so that he could manipulate, abuse, control, and do other egregious things, right? All sorts of psychological abuse, immense traumas, emotional distress, lifelong harm are outlined within these allegations. We also, in this video, are going to get into Diddy's response to all of these allegations via his attorney, okay? Like I said earlier, we're going to get into lots of backstory, the timeline that has been scattered all around the internet. That's really, what I did was I put it together, and a lot of people are coming together. Everybody's coming out with their stories, okay? I mean, a lot of people are speaking out right now, and I've got it all lined up, really helping to put the pieces to Diddy and his pattern of manipulative and abusive behavior together over the years from several other women and people in general, not just women, okay? So everybody can't be lying on Diddy. It's been decades he's been getting away with whatever he wants to get away with, from sexual misconduct to the rumors and suspicions of him having things to do with either Tupac, Biggie, both. And there's so much more that we're going to get into. All right. So this paperwork is shocking. It's disgusting. It's triggering. But listen, we're going to get into it. Quick side note, when I saw that there was a trigger warning on this paperwork, I said, this paperwork was filed in New York City. And I myself have never seen a trigger warning on court paperwork before, right? And I've also consulted with a few different lawyers, attorneys that I know, and they've never seen it either. And the most senior one that I've seen is an attorney who has been in the practice for 12 years, and they have never seen a trigger warning on court paperwork either. So this stuff is egregious, but one thing I gotta say is if Cassie and these things, because of course I've skimmed over all of this stuff, if Cassie can get a trigger warning on her paperwork and her experiences, why didn't R. Kelly have a trigger warning on his paperwork? Because that stuff was equally egregious. Not to play oppression or abuse or trauma Olympics, but I've covered that case years in a row. If Cassie can get one for her abuse, they definitely should have one. So that's just something I've been wondering about. And even the attorneys that I speak with behind the scenes, they're also kind of stumped on what determines this, and how do you determine what court documents get a trigger warning based on how shocking and surprising they are, and which pieces of paperwork don't. Really, really interesting. So that's just something that I was thinking about. Let me know what you all are thinking about it down below in the chat. But listen, we're going to go ahead and get ready to pull this bus off. Be sure to hit thumbs up, have a seat on the bus. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Shout out to all my channel members. There was somebody who joined the membership or rejoined the membership. Shout out to Andrea Elizabeth. Shout out to you. And also shout out to Eric Boykins for the $10 super sticker. I appreciate that as well. And there was somebody who sent me a cash app before we got started. I'll get into that later, but I don't want to keep you here I don't want to drag it out. There's so much that we need to go over that I'm gonna go ahead and get into this, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna put timestamps in so that people watching the replay can kind of sift through as they please. Okay, I want to make it as efficient as possible for you. So real quick, I hope that y'all are feeling all right. Check in on your mental health and your invisible problems. If you haven't already, definitely get out of here and make sure your life is okay. This stuff is shocking, and you have no business dibbling and dabbling into celebrities' business and their mess and their trauma and their confusion if you haven't sorted out your own. Okay, so you ain't gonna catch a lot of content creators telling you to click off of my video. They're gonna try and keep you by any means necessary, but I actually give a about y'all. I care about my stickies. I care about my pancake posse. I care about my audience. Okay, so shout out to the new subscribers. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already. And of course, before I get into breaking down today's topics and viral events, I just want to remind everybody, right, including you, Mr. Combs, Sean, Puffy, P. Diddy, Pop. All things stated in this video are alleged, and according to reports, these are merely allegations. He has not been charged with anything yet, but we're going to go over the paperwork and what is alleged to have happened at the hands of P. Diddy, Epic Records, Bad Boy Records are stated to have been complicit in this case. So we're merely going over allegations. All of this stuff is alleged, okay? I ain't got 4 million. I ain't got 2 million, baby. I ain't got half or $250,000 to be given nobody, all right? So again, be sure to subscribe, thumbs up or down. Either way, I appreciate it. But don't forget to think critically and independently, regardless of what you get from me or anybody else, okay? So let's go ahead and get ready for takeoff, shall we? The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy. It's Therafluent. Hot. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the criminal aspect. Let's get that out the way first, right? Because a lot of people are focused on the civil aspect, because the criminal part of whatever Diddy is going through, again, just to be clear, we're not sure if this criminal case is necessarily related to Diddy or not, but isn't it interesting that the day that we find out that there's something civil going on, that there's something criminal going on connected to some of the same problems? So, think what you want, hypothesize however you please. But let's get into the criminal aspect of this situation, all right? Let me go ahead and get my screen a little bigger, and we're going to go over what is being reported per the New York Police Department. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go over that. So, good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Wake up. Are y'all ready for the weekend? Okay. So he's the subject of a New York Police Department criminal investigation that apparently involves sexual assault. All right. So he is the subject of a secret investigation, although it's unclear if it's Cassie who made the criminal complaint, but there is strong evidence that involves sexual assault. So law enforcement is basically saying that there's an open case with Sean Combs. It's an active case, but the case file has been quote unquote locked, essentially meaning that it's a sensitive case where access is restricted. And so per reported, Cassie has filed an explosive federal lawsuit, which alleges gRAPE, human trafficking, among other accusations. Okay. So the NYPD is saying in a quote, we take sexual assault and gRAPE cases extremely seriously, and we urge anyone who has been a victim to file a police report so that we can perform a comprehensive investigation and offer support and services to survivors. It was seen based on the statement, not only is this a sexual assault case, but the NYPD is actively looking for other alleged victims. And so we contacted TMZ contacted other law enforcement in numerous jurisdictions that Cassie mentioned in her complaint in court in Miami, including Miami, Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, and they got the same reply. No police report has been filed that pertains to Cassie or Diddy, and no investigation has been launched. Now, there was a 2016 case that came up, and the Beverly Hills cops were called after a breakup argument of some sort between Diddy and Cassie, and a domestic incident report was taken, but there was no legal action that was followed. Okay. And so Cassie claimed everything from gRAPE, assault, battery, even human trafficking. This is all after Diddy forced her to have intercourse with male prostitutes across state lines. That is where we get into the trafficking aspect of this, because that could rise to a federal crime. It was also checked out with federal law enforcement sources, including the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, as well as the FBI on both fronts. There was nothing. And so P. Diddy's lawyer has come out strong, calling BS on Cassie's lawsuit, saying that most of her claims would be barred from criminal prosecution based on the statute of limitations. Her gRAPE claim, however, could still be pursued in California. So time will tell if she files a criminal complaint there. Okay. So this is going to be 2016 case. The year 2016 is extremely important because the statute of limitations is 7 in New York. For criminal is 7 years. For civil, it's 20 years in New York. So anything from November the 16th, 2016 could still technically be taken up via the criminal statute of limitations. So it's going to be interesting to see as we go through this paperwork, and if anything else emerges while we dig into this story, if we'll find anything from 2016. So that is basically where we are with the criminal aspect of it. We really don't know a whole bunch. They're keeping everything close to their chest. I guess just to keep the investigation safe. We know Diddy is famous for making evidence, claims of his misconduct, and even people disappear. So I think it makes sense for them to keep the public out of it so that he can't go clean up exactly whatever they're sniffing around, if you catch my drift. One question that I want you all to ask yourself as you continue to watch this video as we go through all of these things, do you think, sounds like the chickens are coming home to roost for Diddy. He has been surrounded by a plethora of controversy and wrongdoing for decades. Do you think, this is a question of the day and probably the question of the weekend, do you think that Diddy's career or his reputation will be able to recover from this whole scandal, this whole thing that's going on. I really want to know what you think down below. I'm curious. It seems that he has so much money that he's able to pay people off and make people change their stories after they come out and they make claims against him. So, that's just something that I've been wondering. So let's move on to the next part of what I want to go over with you all regarding this, the timeline and what people have claimed about him over the years before we get to the court documents. I'm so sorry if I sound sick. It's because I kind of sort of am. All right. So, but I decided I'm going to come on here and give my stickies what they deserve. Okay. So Cassie warned an ex-girlfriend. She warned an ex-girlfriend about his behavior and basically told her, listen, stay away from this dude. This is not what you want. And it seems like the lady didn't listen. Let's take a listen to this account. Now, mind you, this isn't a new account. This is something that was dished 5 years ago. Okay. 5 years ago. I remember when this came out because I was watching this the day that it aired. Again, I don't think that everybody's lying on Diddy when it comes to this, but let's take a look. And please be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you're just getting in, and don't forget to subscribe. All right.
You actually met him when he was with Cassie.
Yeah.
So could you explain to me how this came to be and what made you stay even though he was with Cassie? What was he telling you?
When I first met Puff, I did not find him I didn't like him like that.
Okay.
Eventually, he grew on me.
And you knew about Cassie?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did Cassie know about you? Is the question.
She did. She knew about me 4 months into the relationship.
Okay. And how did you find out about that, Cassie knowing about you?
Because she reached out to me.
Oh, she did?
Mm-hmm.
What did she say?
Basically, she just said to just leave him alone.
Okay.
But she reached out to me a few times after that, and she was never nasty to me. She didn't call me names or nothing. She was always nice. I don't know if it was fake or not, but she was always nice.
Okay. What was your response to Cassie?
She told me the last time I spoke to her, which was a couple years ago, she told me, she was she called me at 4 a.m. and was hey, I just had a dream and I just wanted to call you and tell you that I don't hate you. I don't have bad blood towards you or anything like that. He had caught me texting another man. We was in Miami. It got really crazy that time. We was upstairs and he had we were in his closet and he pushed me and I fell to the ground and then he stood over me. So I was laying on my back and he stood over me and he started punching me this. He avoided my face, but he started punching me on the side of my head, and I was just covering my face. And then after he got done doing that, he stomped on my stomach really hard, and I took the wind out of my breath. I couldn't breathe, and he kept hitting me, and I was pleading to him can you stop? I can't breathe. And he stopped for a little bit. He grabbed my hair from the back and was punching the back of my head, because he was just avoiding my face when he was hitting me.
On your wrist, plain giant.
So Cassie definitely tried to warn his new woman. And I mean, honestly, when you look at Cassie and you look at this woman here in this interview, you can see Diddy has a bit of a type. Every person, you might have a type, obviously Carisha doesn't necessarily look like Cassie and this woman, but it's clear that at some point he has an attraction to women who look this way, right? And one thing that I really want to reiterate is one of our biggest assets as women is taking advice from other women who have, quote, been there, done that. We've all heard that terminology before, right? And so especially if they've been burnt by the stove already, right? You don't always have to touch a stove in order to know that it's hot. So if there's another woman who done touched the hot stove and they got the scars, or they're telling you about the whatever, we can take advice from other women, but sometimes we feel the need to want to prove them wrong. Like, oh no, and listen, it has nothing to do with age. Wisdom comes from a lot of different places, but some women can see things that you haven't seen yet. And some women have experienced things that you haven't, and things that you might not even know yet that you do not want to experience. And so it is really important that we as women, that we try our best to listen to women who have not only been burnt by a certain type of behavior, a certain type of guy, but the actual specific guy himself. It's the same. It's not like the same make and model of the stove. This is the same stove. Men and other romantic relationships, crushes, or people you flirt with, or people that you find attractive in whatever way, they can cloud your judgment. They can cloud your judgment. Right. And I'm speaking to women. I know it can happen to men, but I'm speaking to women right now. At the end of the day, women, we are all we got. Have you seen the people who are trying to discredit Kiki and make her out to be the aggressor in this situation? A lot of men, some women, right? Misogyny can come from anywhere. Doesn't matter how you identify. Okay. You've got some people who are joking about Cassie in this situation already. Women, ladies, we are all we have. Black women, we are all we have. And all of us at some point should have heard the quote by now: the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. So shout out to Cassie for trying to give this girl a heads up. She does look a lot like that woman that Carisha has been competing with over the time. I'm unsure if this is the same woman, but it happens. Okay. So now I want to get into something that I found to be extremely, extremely eerie. Okay. 160 people here, 80 thumbs up. Can we please show the video some love? Pay your fare. I'm not asking you to open your wallet. Okay. Just pay your fare and hit the thumbs up video. Y'all remember Kim Porter, right? Let's get into that. Let's get into this. This is really eerie. Listen close. Listen close.
This is so crazy. I am being shown November of 2023. So her death date was November 15th of 2018. But I'm being shown November.
Now, ain't that something? Her death date was November 15th. This news, these documents and everything came out on November 16th, yesterday. Let's just keep watching.
Of 2023. I don't think we're done with this. I feel she's shaking her head yes. Before she stare at me, then she wait, and now she's shaking her head yes. I am being shown that things are being prepared. She is showing me a trumpet. People are standing straight up, and there are people going to speak, not just about what happened to her, about other things. Something is unraveling. For some reason, she...
Rolex on your wrist, a plain giant.
So, listen, whether you're esoterical or not, this psychic, and listen, myself personally, I'm leery of psychics, but it's just interesting because this video was from 5 months ago. And this psychic, so-called psychic, channeled Kim Porter, who was Diddy's baby's mother, after she passed, and got messages from Kim's energy, she claims, that things would start to unravel with P. Diddy in November of this year. I just found it to be interesting. I'm not saying it's a nail in the coffin. This can't be used in court. We all have common sense, most of us, right? But this is just really interesting. This is why I continue to ask, do y'all think his career is going to recover? Because there's so much happening around him right now. And outside of this woman claiming to have had some sort of contact with Kim Porter's spirit, there are people who are still alive who are uniting and speaking up and out about him all at once right now. There are 4 more people we need to get into who are 4 or 5 more instances of people who are still here, who are speaking out about how controlling, how manipulative, and how nasty Diddy has been over the decades. It was just something I found to be interesting, and it was just like a puzzle piece that fell into place. Could be mere coincidence. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. All right. So now I want to get into Put it 2 in the chat if y'all remember Al.B. Shore and the things that he was trying to say as it pertained to his close friend, Kim Porter. Okay. So let's get into this. All right. Okay. So this Twitter user points out, but when Al.B. Shore was saying something happened to Kim Porter, nobody wanted to listen then. And he got sick suddenly. Y'all should have listened. They rekindled before she passed. Now, a lot of people were suspicious of Kim Porter's death. She was healthy. She suddenly got pneumonia and just passed. And, you know, word on the curb has been that she was about to do a tell-all book. Now, if she's doing a tell-all book and she's dealt with the manipulation and the abuse and the narcissistic ways of P. Diddy, wouldn't you think that some of what she experienced would be in that book, and all of a sudden she's just gone? And I mean, people still think what they think about, you know, his potential or alleged affiliation with Pac or Biggie or both, right? So peep this. So Al.B. Shore indirectly alleges that Kim Porter may have been unalived, intentionally unalived. So father of Kim Porter's son, Quincy, may have some other theories about his ex-wife's death. He claimed that the time leading up to her death, she was, quote, running from someone or something, and that he had told her, right? Let me zoom in here. He claimed that in the time leading up to her death, she was, quote unquote, running from someone or something, and that he had told her. And so he recounted in a now deleted Instagram caption to the FBI. Okay. Only later did he instead insist that she was running a marathon instead of running from someone or something. So he was pressured to change his statement and his intuition, and how he just felt like something just wasn't clean within this whole ordeal. Something seemed dirty. There seemed to have been foul play here. And it appears that he had been pressured to change his story. Oh no, she wasn't running from someone or something. She was running a marathon. Okay. Isn't that interesting, right? Oh, let me see. They say this is the, bless you. You okay? Okay. The same psychic that said that Kim was poisoned through her nasal spray. Wow. Interesting. You know, this thing with Diddy is very layered. He's done a lot of dirt over the years. And it seems like it's catching up to him. That's just what it seems like. I don't know. Who am I? You know? So let's get into the next thing. All right. There's this story that young Jock has been telling for the longest time. Okay. And he's told this story on more than one occasion. And it's about, do y'all remember when Cassie went through this thing where half of her head was shaved? Well, some of you may have heard the story, but for those of you who haven't, let's get into how that came about according to the account of young Jock, who was in their, you know, they were having a party, and it was Jock and his wife and Diddy and Cassie and some party that they were at, and how this all came about. Let's take a listen. Drop some pancakes in the chat for this exclusive breakdown from none other than Jane, the plainest Jane. And don't forget to hit thumbs up on the video, okay?
He was in that man's house and he saw that man's wife and was like this. I was watching Puff. The nigga Puff was looking up there. He saw this white woman It was bottles on bottles on bottles around her. It was lit. Puff jumped out. Me and Cassie sitting next to each other. My wife right here, Cassie right here. The nigga jumped off the bar, came over and said, yo, Cassie, tomorrow, I want you to shave the side of your head. And I was like, what the fuck kind of request is that? Like, so when I'm like, what the fuck? So when I look up there, this white woman's side of her head was shaved, my nigga. And the bitch looked good with it. So I was looking at Cassie, I was like, well, I was like, you're not about to do that, are you? She said, well, I mean, whatever Sean wants, I'm gonna do. I was like, well, you make sure you send me a picture before you do that shit. So within like 2-3 days, she sent me a picture. I'm like, she done shaved her motherfucking head. I'm like, that shit look good. When that shit hit the internet, boom.
She started a whole trend, man.
A whole trend, and I watched it happen.
She started a whole
So I got so many moments and stories in time like this, bro. I can go on for days.
Rolex on your wrist, a plain Jane.
Is that not strange? Is that not strange? Now, I was doing some research earlier today. This story broke at like 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time over here on, on the East Coast. Shout out to Baltimore, shout out to Maryland, okay? This story broke around 6 o'clock. So I've just been researching ever since, formatting. And when we get into this paperwork, Cassie filed this paperwork right on time. When I say right on time, she filed it right on time. And in my research, I think it's in the documents. She was very timid. She was meek. She, kind of like just had this like anxiety about her. She was shy. And I think Diddy got off on putting her in, uncomfortable situations. And as a matter of fact, he thought her shyness was quote unquote cute. Right. And so she was willing to do anything to succeed. She never had a big time shot when she was performing somewhere at a smaller venue when Diddy found and approached her. So I find it very easy to believe that he manipulated her. And if you go back and watch the Me and You video by Cassie, it's me and you. Now, I can't sing. I've been waiting, think I want to make them move. Now, go back and watch that video. She's so timid, but she was trying to break out of her shell. She was clearly extremely shy at that time. And that was like one of her first, mainstream hits while he was trying to mold her into, I don't think we had a Rihanna yet, but he was trying to mold her into something, make her the next megastar, because I guess he felt like she had the look. But Cassie's no Sierra, but I still do like her singles that have done well, right? She was very timid. She was very timid. And so it's just unfortunate. Diddy is a predator, in my opinion. He preyed on people like that. He wouldn't have done that to no damn Lauryn Hill or, some Kaya or some outspoken woman. You know what I mean? But that's just what I think. Like I tell you, think critically and independently and comment down below and let me know what you all think in the chat. Or if you're chasing the bus, let me know down below in the hard comments. All right. Now, let's get into our next thing. Okay. Well, before we get into our next thing, I just want to say what I noticed within this story is it seemed like Diddy was trying to build this dream woman or build this woman that he wanted or that he could manipulate based on a 100% colonized preference, right? Don't even get me started. Because of course, Cassie she's got an exotic look. She's racially ambiguous. But it seems like Diddy didn't really like Cassie. He liked what he could make her do and who he could and how he had control over her and who he could turn her into, right? So it's kind of, I don't know, was he in a Barbie workshop, just trying to create this woman? And the irony of it is she did finally build up the nerve to leave, and now she's married to who was his personal in-house trainer. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So now we're going to get into Danity Kane, how Danity Kane gets back into the story. I would bring Making the Band into this, but I don't want to get a copyright strike. for bringing up some of the footage and what he put the guys from Making the Band through. But I do have some recent things from Danity Kane. Shout out to all of the people from the 90s and the 2000s who actually know who Danity Kane is. Okay. So it seems they're kind of standing in solidarity. One of them, I'm kind of shocked, especially because of the timing. Now, when it comes to Aubrey, I'm not at all surprised because she's always spoke out. She has always spoke out when it came to Diddy and how he mistreats them. Always. Always. All right. Somebody said Jennifer Lopez get out quick. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Aubrey says, I've been trying to tell y'all for years, prayers up for this queen at Cassie. And she had a lot more to say, but that's pretty much the gist of it that she put in her Instagram stories. Dawn says, praying for Cassie and her family for peace and healing. You are beautiful and brave with a heart. You know, I just found the timing to be interesting, but I'm still very proud of it because I find it commendable, should I say, because Diddy just released an album, like a month or so ago, and Dawn Richards was on it. She was on that latest album. Like Diddy had her on the album, right? It's a bag, it's visibility, it's an opportunity, it's whatever, even though Dawn is beyond talented, not that she needs a handout, right? But, you know, to have just been on this man's album and to speak up in solidarity and to wish prayers to Cassie, commendable. Shout out to her, honestly. Okay? Honestly, shout out to her. Very nice. So I want to get into just the fear that Diddy is used to instilling into anybody he has ever had an association or work relationship with. He's very skilled, unfortunately, in misusing and abusing his power in this way. Take a listen and tell me what you get from this clip, okay? Tell me what you get from this.
You keep mentioning Diddy. I wanted to ask you about I just saw the whole thing with Bad Boy. He gave the rights back to a lot of Bad Boy artists. Any comment?
Yeah, I'll talk about this. We only get the amounts due since Sony bought our catalog.
Okay.
So streaming for the past couple years, it's about $800, $900, some in the hundreds. Okay. And in order to get that, I have to release him for any claims or wrongdoings or actions prior to the date of the release. I have to sign an NDA.
If you were to sign that NDA, would then that prohibit you from taking a deal where it's like you get a show?
They brought back Jersey Shore. They brought back Laguna Beach. Making the Band is the only one that they did not bring back. And Making the Band is the only cult MTV show that made that network, one of them, that they have never played in one rerun. Not one rerun. So I'd like to know why, and if it has something to do with Diddy. And there's so many paychecks. I offered girls, I called all of them. I offered some of the girls, hey, if you need $800-900, I'll give it to you. Don't sign this. This is just a way to get you to never be able to publicly speak about what we have experienced. And to my knowledge, allegedly, there's only 2 of us from Danity Kane that did not sign this deal.
Rolex on your wrist, a plain Jane.
Yeah. So there was more she said, but she was kind of, the 10-minute clip is kind of like she was black. That was the most important thing from that clip that I wanted to pull out. And you got to wonder why did Diddy just turn around all of a sudden and say, hey, you can, let me give you your publishing. It's been all these years, from Mace to Making the Band to Danity Kane, and everybody else has an issue with Diddy's pay structure and how controlling it is and how it either backs him in a corner, places him in a box, and leaves him with limited to no options. And all of a sudden, he's nominated for an award. Now, I feel like he kind of sensed that some of these legal issues will be coming down the pipeline. And now he just kind of wants to look like this, like he's had this come to Jesus moment and he wants to do the right thing. And what their payouts are is not even $1,000. It's not even $1,000. So from the outside looking into, people who don't understand the industry and the back end of this, they're like, oh, look at him. He's softening up as he gets old with age. He's actually turned into a nice guy. He's trying to pull the wool over your eyes and trick you into thinking that he is this upstanding guy that isn't such a Mitch or a BAN, Chaz, that he was back when he had people walking across bridges for cheesecake. He had these men from making the band singing over beds. Who want the bed? Y'all need to sing. Y'all need to sing. I mean, just cruel and unusual. Everybody's claims of him are similar in one way, shape, or form, whether they're men or women. All the way up to Mace. And everybody's lying? I don't think so. I don't think so. But that's that. What are y'all's thoughts so far? What are y'all thoughts? Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Tamika Thin, Eric Boykins. Hey, Tamara. Well, shout out to everybody. I wish I could speak to everybody in the chat, but like I said, I don't want this video to be excruciatingly long. So, now before we get into the documents, because we got 35 pages that we need to read. Okay. Before we get into the documents, I want to let you know why Cassie's timing is of interest. And I think it was pretty much like right on time, as I stated earlier. So there is such thing as the Adult Survivor Act, right? It's called the Adult Survivors Act. And of course, you know, there is a statute of limitations with both civil and criminal proceedings, and it varies from state to state depending on where you're located and where you're filing and or where the alleged incidents took place. And so when we get to talking about the this Adult Survivors Act, the deadline for this, for her to file this, was going to be November the 23rd, which is about what, 5-6 days from now? 5-6 days from now. So just in a nick of time, okay? Only a week before there was an exemption for the statute of limitations that expires next week, essentially. So she got it in. She had all this paperwork already done. And I think it was determined last year on November 24th that y'all have one more year if there's anything that has happened within New York state legislation to go ahead and get this in, because after November 23rd of this year, or November 23rd or 4th, you won't be able to file anymore. Okay. So she got this paperwork in a nick of time. Okay. Also, Jane, another girl was dating Diddy too at that time. Yeah, it does not surprise me. Why does that not surprise me? Don't forget how case went public a day after anniversary. Yeah. So, yeah, some sites I'm seeing the 23rd, some I'm seeing the 24th, but you get the drift. Just a few days left. Okay. And so the timing of it all is extremely interesting. And also, one of Cassie's former personal assistants has also spoken out about this situation, corroborating this case. So let's take a look at this. So this is her former personal assistant, says it's all true. I was Cassie's personal assistant and seen a lot during my days beside her. She's a very strong woman and deserves every penny. The things she endured, you could never imagine. So according to him, this stuff is true and he witnessed it firsthand as well. So he's also saying it's true, along with others. We're going to get to Kid Cudi in a minute. And before I get into this paperwork, the court documents, I totally must give you a trigger warning again, because this is where it begins to get gruesome. Y'all remember how gruesome the R. Kelly paperwork was? Kind of sort of along the same lines, okay? I'm sort of along the same lines. So mind your mental health. Is extremely early in the morning. It's 5:35 over here on the East Coast. If you're all the way over on the West Coast, it's, what is it, 2 in the morning, right? Guard your mental health, okay? Mind your mental peace. And we're gonna get into these court documents, okay? What is it, Leo? Okay, and what's that? You want to look at the camera and tell the people to subscribe? Look, tell the people, look, up here, look. The people, up, tell them to subscribe. You're just blending in with the chair. Go on, get out of here, brother. Get out of here, brother. So yeah, I definitely think that the assistant needs to testify. And I think that anybody that's brought up within this paperwork, or anybody who's alleged anything, if Dawn or Aubrey are willing to testify, well, they might not have been around for Cassie, but anybody who was around and witnessed this firsthand, they need to be put on the stand and they need to be put under oath. Absolutely. They do. Okay. And I hope that they're brave enough to do so, but I can totally understand being scared of Diddy. I can totally understand. He gets upset with people if he feels like there's something, that a secret that you have that could be catastrophic to his career, his reputation, you might just disappear. So, you know, I get the fear on one hand, but hopefully with all of these people speaking up and speaking out at once, people are encouraged to stand in solidarity. So, give me a second to take a couple sips of this tea before we get started, and we're going to get into these 35 pages, okay? Is everyone enjoying this video would be difficult. Is everyone appreciative of this breakdown and the documents that we're about to get into? I hope so. Drop some pancakes, hit the thumbs up button, all right? And we are going to be right back.
Get into this Black-owned business, Stickies. It's got things for inside your home, outside your home, and even on the go. JasmineMadeIt.com is your new destination for Black Girl Magic mugs, tumblers, and even wine glasses. You can even customize the tumblers and wine glasses. There's a lot going on for a low price over at JasmineMadeIt.com. And if you've been serious about wanting to support more Black-owned businesses, here's your chance. Let JasmineMadeIt.com handle all your problems for family and friends. You ever had a friend over and they just wasn't catching the hint or paying the rent?
Our asses all get to stepping.
Yeah, tell them to get to stepping with this nostalgic Martin-themed doormat, and shop over a dozen different doormat designs over on JasmineMadeIt.com. All right, Stickies, you know what time it is. It's time to put your money where your mouth is and shop Black today. Make life easier for you and your household by taking your family's hot or cold beverages on the go with one of these unique tumblers. It's insulated to keep your beverage at temperature, and it comes with a few different reusable straws and even the specific brush that you need to wash it, so you can keep it sanitized and germ-free. They've got all kinds of designs to match your mood or style. So grab something for your wife, the hubby, or even the kids over on JasmineMadeIt.com. That's JasmineMadeIt.com, and I'll see you over there.
All right, we are back. Don't forget, you can use my code Jane for 10% off over on JasmineMadeIt.com. And there is no minimum purchase requirement, okay? So even if you go over there just to buy a set of wine glasses or one tumbler, you are going to be able to get 10% off, all right? So I was able to find that there is no statute of limitations for GRAPE, for xual assault in the state of California. And this is per Penal Code 799B1. It indicates that the California GRAPE statute of limitations doesn't exist because the prosecution can commence at any time. Consequently, the prosecution can take their time gathering evidence until they have enough to convict you before filing charges. So Cassie can file a formal criminal complaint in the state of California, although she filed this over in New York, right? So she can file a criminal complaint in the state of California for the charge of GRAPE as the actual assault against P. Diddy. So if, like I said, for the statute of limitations for criminal wise in New York is 7 years. So anything that happened November, what is this, 17th, November 16th, or 17th, 2016 on up, she might still be able to do something about that. So it'll be interesting to see if she takes action in either New York, California, or both, because they resided at a few different places. These allegations, what she's alleging is that some of this stuff took place across state lines. You know, most of the celebrities do live either in LA or New York or down in Florida. So we will see how this plays out, but I did want to give you all that update. It can be kind of confusing, but like I said, I'm going to break it down to the best of my ability to make it digestible. Legal jargon can just all blend together at once. So I like to try to put it in layman's terms for my stickies because y'all deserve it, right? We all want this information. And if there's something that you need to file against somebody or somebody in your family or a friend, you need to know what these laws look like so that you can take action instead of feeling like, oh, it was 3 years ago. I can't do anything. I should have spoke up then. Nope. There might be something you can do. So let's go ahead and get into the documents. All right. Which I'm really eager to go over, to be quite frank, even though I might lose my voice. So let's get started. So we have the District Court of the Southern District of New York. We have Cassie versus P. Diddy, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Combs Enterprises, LLC, and Doe Core 1 through 10. Again, this trigger warning is very different. It's something that nearly no one has ever seen. Okay. The website, let me see. The website doesn't pull up from one. What website? What website you talking about? Let me know. So trigger warning, this document contains highly graphic information of sexual nature, including sexual assault. Oh, JasmineMadeIt.com doesn't pop up. I'll check that in just a moment, okay? Ain't that something? Well, all right. We will address that. All right. So the plaintiff is Cassie, and she alleges that as against Sean Combs, Bad Boy Records, Epic, the following. The defendant, P. Diddy, is a rapper and a record executive popularly known by his stage name Puff Daddy. P. Diddy, Mr. Combs, came to fame in the early 1990s with his record label Bad Boy Records. He rose to prominence in the music and entertainment industry over the decades and is regularly referred to as a hip-hop mogul. In 2022, P. Diddy received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards. Oh, baby, they pulling out the facts early. Okay. And so during his acceptance speech, he said, just last year, I have to give a special shout out. Thank you, love to the people that was really there for me. He named a number of people before adding, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times, love. Now, wait a minute. You abused this woman all up and down, right? Front, back, left, right. And you say, thank you for holding me down. This is the reason why women have a problem with being considered a ride or die. Because y'all think, some men think, or some people think it's tolerating abuse or mistreatment. And they think that when they give you this thank you, that it buys your blind loyalty or silence to keep their secret because you went up on a stage last year and said, thank you. What was I supposed to be happy about? Baby. Okay. The truth, however, is that Cassie was held down. Oh, shit. I love the way they playing with these words here. He said, Cassie held me down in dark times. The truth is, however, Cassie was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his violent behavior and disturbed demands. For Cassie, the quote, dark times were those spent trapped by P. Diddy in a cycle of abuse, violence, sex trafficking, among other violent and unlawful acts. Ooh. Okay, so they're listing them again. I've given y'all the trigger warnings, okay? Says that he gRAPed Cassie in her own home after she tried to leave him. He often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Cassie, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically involved with Cassie. Forced Cassie to engage in sex acts with male sex workers while masturbating and filming the encounters. Ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby. Demanded that Cassie carry the firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is. And introduced Cassie to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. Okay. Let's go to the bush. Give me
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
All right. This is pretty graphic. Somebody said R. Kelly Jr. I mean, might as well say. My goodness. That took me by surprise a little bit. I ain't even gonna hold you. All right, so let's get back into this. So Cassie met P. Diddy in 2005 when she was 19 years old and he was 37 years old. So there's basically a 20-year age gap between these two. He signed her to his label, Bad Boy Records, and within a few years lured Cassie into a fast-paced, drug-fueled lifestyle and into a romantic relationship with him. Her boss, one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry, and a vicious, cruel, and controlling man, nearly 2 decades her senior. So P. Diddy asserted complete control over Cassie's personal and professional life, thereby ensuring her inability to escape his hold. He provided unprecedented avenues for success for the aspiring artist, but in return demanded obedience, loyalty, and silence. Throughout their relationship, P. Diddy was prone to uncontrollable rage and frequently beat Cassie savagely. These beatings were witnessed by P. Diddy's staff and employees of Bad Boy Entertainment and P. Diddy's related businesses, but no one dared to speak up against their frightening and ferocious boss. Now, following these episodes of horrific abuse, P. Diddy would immediately attempt to hide Cassie in the evidence of his violent rage. He often showered her with gifts following the incidents of physical violence, which was a typical pattern of behavior by serial abusers. In addition to the physical assaults, P. Diddy frequently reminded Cassie of his ability to cause serious harm, whether by requiring her to carry the gun in her purse or by blowing up the car of a musician that was romantically interested in Cassie. Now, keep in mind, this was Kid Cudi. They dated at one point. Cassie and Kid Cudi dated at one point, and he has came out and confirmed that. But I do believe we're going to get into that within this paperwork as well. So, adding insult to injury, P. Diddy used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Cassie into repeated and unwanted sexual encounters with male sex workers. Over the years that P. Diddy abused Cassie physically and sexually, she again and again tried to escape his tight hold over her life. And every time she hid, P. Diddy's vast network of corporations and affiliated entities found her, and those who worked for P. Diddy's companies implored her to return to him. Many went as far as to explicitly state that her future return to P. Diddy would that her failure to return to P. Diddy would hinder her success in the entertainment industry. Now, when Cassie believed that she finally separated from her long-term abuser, she joined P. Diddy for a dinner, after which he forced her into her home and gRAPEd her while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. Now, Cassie has fully escaped P. Diddy, but the harm that the assaults and sexual abuse he caused her to experience for nearly a decade will forever haunt her. She has required intensive medical and psychological care to recover from the trauma she lived through. She cannot, however, continue to live in silence about what she endured. P. Diddy remains immensely powerful and immensely dangerous. Cassie therefore seeks justice for the decade of her life that P. Diddy took away from her with threats of violence, excessive use of drugs, physical and psychological abuse, and sexual slavery. Damn. Ooh. Oh. Accordingly, Cassie brings this action seeking injunctive and she's looking for monetary relief against P. Diddy, his businesses, in violation of federal sex trafficking laws. Okay. Gender motivated violence, the New York Services for Victims of Human Trafficking, according to Civil Code 52.5. So the court, I don't think that this is important. This is just talking about jurisdictions. Pursuant 28 USC 1391B, the venue proper in this court, because a substantial part of the events or omissions giving rise to the action, including the unlawful employment practices and intentional and negligent conduct alleged herein, occurred within the district. Okay, so the plaintiff is Cassie, California, resident of the states of California and Connecticut. She was employed by Bad Boy LLC, Bad Boy Entertainment, and the related entities. At all relevant times herein, Cassie met the definition of an employee of the defendants, P. Diddy and all of his companies, basically. And so P. Diddy, upon information and belief, resides within the state of California. At all relevant times herein, P. Diddy met the definition of an employer of Cassie under all relevant statutes. So defendant Bad Boy Entertainment Music Media, the entertainment company founded by P. Diddy, which includes the record label Bad Boy Records LLC. At all relevant times, Cassie was an employee of P. Diddy. The defendant, Bad Boy Records LLC, is a Delaware limited liability company with a principal place of business located in New York, New York. At all relevant times, Cassie was an employer. The defendant, P. Diddy, was an employer of Cassie. Okay, this is getting kind of repetitive. The defendant Record label, okay, kind of repetitive. Limited liability company. Okay, factual allegations. Let's get into this. 300 people here, 156 thumbs up. Y'all, please do me a favor and hit the like on the video. All right, I went and got the paperwork. I did my part. I'm not asking y'all to contribute or send a cash app. You can, but it ain't required. Just hit the thumbs up button. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news.
Okay, so let's get into the factual allegations. This is where things get even more graphic. All right. Teenaged Cassie meets middle-aged P. Diddy as her career begins. P. Diddy and Cassie in late 2005 or early 2006, after P. Diddy heard that Cassie's first single playing in the club, expressed interest in signing her to the label Bad Boy. At the time, Cassie was 19. He was 37. Within months, in February 2006, Cassie signed a 10-album deal with P. Diddy's record label. Cassie's first album was self-titled Cassie. It was released in August of 2006, debuting at number 4 on the U.S. Billboard 200, which is kind of pretty impressive for your first album. Now, to promote the album, Cassie made television appearances on MTV's TRL and BET's 106 in Park. Hey, put a 5 in the chat if you remember those days, getting out of school and going home to watch the countdowns, TRL, BET, hell, Cedar's World, Ticket in the Basement, Rap City. Put a 5 in the chat if you're a part of that part. I'm a 90s baby. I'm part of that. So she went on BET, she went on 106 in Park, she went on TRL. So Cassie suffered from significant performance anxiety during the appearances, and press outlets were highly critical of her performances on the shows. I told you, as I stated earlier in this video, it was very obvious that she was timid, but it seemed like she was trying to come out of her shell. So it seemed like she had hope, right? So P. Diddy, however, sought to rehabilitate his newly signed talent, telling MTV News, quote, "You could hear the nervousness in her voice. And to be honest, I kind of smiled at it because it made me really appreciate what I really love about her. She's a regular person. It made me appreciate that she got nervous, and it was kind of cute to me, to be honest. You've got to understand that success for her is coming out of nowhere. It's just so huge, and sometimes everybody handles it differently." A man knocking on the door of 40 talking about, "Oh, I find her cute. I find her adorable," as you mold her and make her your girlfriend. No, you're a predator. No, you're a groomer. Let's keep it a buck. You're not fooling me. You're not fooling me. You're a predator. You shouldn't be knocking on 40, finding no 19-year-old to be cute and adorable. And I guess you probably maybe even called her sexy at that time. Y'all got romantic. You had her dressing in a certain way. I remember what she was dressing like back at that time. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Stop it. Terrible. While clearly paternalistic and nothing, oh, here we go. While clearly paternalistic and noting that it was cute to him how regular Cassie appeared, P. Diddy, his comments rang true to some extent. Upon signing with Bad Boy Records, Cassie was quickly thrust into the spotlight and was unfamiliar with how to navigate her new celebrity status. So P. Diddy's recognition and glorification of Cassie's, she's pretty naive at the time, to set the groundwork for his manipulative and coercive romantic and sexual relationship with Cassie, a woman who is nearly 2 decades his junior. So within a year of signing with Bad Boy Records, P. Diddy became deeply entrenched in Cassie's life, almost immediately asserting possession and control over her and inserting himself into all aspects of her career and her personal life. In November of 2006, P. Diddy invited Cassie to perform his song, "Come to Me," along with him at the MTV Europe Music Awards in Denmark. After rehearsal for the performance, P. Diddy walked around in a robe with a drink in his hand, flaunting his lavish party lifestyle to his label's newly signed artists. During hair and makeup leading up to the performance, Cassie's hairstylist and P. Diddy's makeup artist told Cassie that P. Diddy was interested in her. So Cassie shrugged off the gossip and, in fact, expressed disgust given the large age gap between her and the president of her record label. You all, please be sure to share this video via text message, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, your group chats, however it is that you share videos. Thank you so much, because we are getting down to it. Now, emphasizing the age and power dynamic early on in their working relationship, P. Diddy positioned himself as a father figure and a protector of Cassie by way of example after returning to New York after a trip to Las Vegas, during which she endured a brief hospital stay. Cassie, who by then was fully healthy, went out to the club with her friends. And when P. Diddy saw her out, he reprimanded her, telling her to go home and take care of herself. At the time, Cassie thought that her record label was looking out for her well-being and that P. Diddy had her best interest in mind. And P. Diddy also ensured that he was intertwined, all right, with Cassie's personal and social life, for instance, by inviting himself to Cassie's 21st birthday party in Las Vegas. He also brought along famous musicians and producers, thereby flaunting his celebrity status and influence in front of a young and impressionable Cassie. Although P. Diddy knew that Cassie was in a relationship at the time, and even though he was publicly in a relationship with Kim Porter, P. Diddy nevertheless pursued Cassie. At an after party in a hotel suite following Cassie's 21st birthday party, P. Diddy pulled Cassie into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her. Cassie did not consent to this unwanted contact. She immediately ran out of the bathroom and the hotel suite and cried. She told her best friend at the time about what happened, but was too scared to tell anyone else. At the VMAs, the Video Music Awards, the following day, Cassie's boyfriend at the time joined her and P. Diddy at a table at the awards ceremony. P. Diddy became angry, telling Cassie that the invitation to the awards ceremony was only for her and not for her significant other. So now we get into the part where it states that P. Diddy lured Cassie into a relationship. Now, despite her clear rejection of P. Diddy's advances, P. Diddy continued to demand that Cassie spend time with him, including for a weekend in P. Diddy's residence in Miami and for nights out in New York City. One particular night in September of 2007, P. Diddy insisted on taking Cassie out, and she feared that rejecting P. Diddy's request would have repercussions for her album deal, with P. Diddy and his company, which was Bad Boy Records, the record label that she signed to. So P. Diddy picked up Cassie from her apartment in Manhattan in a blue luxury vehicle. And Cassie was surprised that when she got into the car, P. Diddy was already inebriated. So he was, well, not to say he was drunk, but he was inebriated. He could have been gone off of anything. Now, P. Diddy handed her a pill and told her to take it. But when Cassie asked what the pill was, P. Diddy dismissed her and told her she would take it. She later learned that the pill was ecstasy. Oh, Lord have mercy. Something that Cassie had never had before. She'd never tried it, and she didn't want to try it. This was the first time that P. Diddy got Cassie high. P. Diddy then proceeded to drive recklessly at very high speeds down the West Side Highway of Manhattan. Cassie was very scared, but did not dare to object to P. Diddy, who appeared drunk, high, and agitated. P. Diddy took Cassie to an upscale lounge in downtown Manhattan, where he proceeded to get into an altercation with the security staff, who would not permit P. Diddy to enter, presumably because he was belligerent. Cassie decided to go home. But for the remainder of the night, P. Diddy messaged Cassie over and over again, complaining that she left him high and alone. In early fall 2007, P. Diddy flexed his power and influence when he paid a promoter to create a fake flyer for a party hosted by Cassie. Oh, that's low down and dirty. You paid somebody to make a fake flyer, making it seem like Cassie is hosting a party and it's fake just to lure her out the house. This fake posting allowed Cassie to have an excuse to go to Miami, Florida, and get away from her boyfriend by using the guise of a legitimate event that she had to attend. Cassie was stunned at how easily P. Diddy was able to recruit others to lie for him. Cassie was uncomfortable with the fake flyer because the request to go to Miami was made by the owner of the record label, and because she was scared to go against his wishes and face repercussions to her career, which was brand new, she agreed to join P. Diddy in Florida. During this trip in Miami, P. Diddy provided Cassie with copious amounts of drugs. She became more intoxicated than she ever had been before, and her intoxication lasted throughout the weekend trip. As she wanted P. Diddy to continue to support her career, she felt that she could not refuse P. Diddy's urging her to take more drugs. After providing her with drugs, P. Diddy had sexual intercourse with Cassie during this trip. This is trifling. I mean, this is just trifling. They need to lock him up, okay? They need to lock him up. I mean, for good, they need to lock him up.
Police! Help! Police! Help! Police! Help! Help! Police! Help!
So, within 2 years, after providing her with, so within 2 years, within 2 years of meeting P. Diddy, Cassie found herself lured into the immediate circle of her boss, the owner of the label, and one of the most powerful men of the entertainment industry, Now we get into the part where it says P. Diddy exerts control over Cassie's career and personal life. Now, from the very start of the relationships, P. Diddy exerted his power and influence over Cassie, and the dynamic was fueled by their nearly 20-year age difference, as well as their relative position in the entertainment industry, with P. Diddy considered a music mogul and Cassie at the very start of her career as an entertainer. P. Diddy's aggressive and demanding approach to those he worked with made it impossible for anyone to challenge him. And Cassie soon learned that P. Diddy insisted on blind loyalty from everyone in his inner circle. Although Cassie had saved up some of the money from her young modeling career, P. Diddy's display of wealth was quite intimidating to her. P. Diddy paid for things with wads of cash and would repeatedly tell Cassie, "Don't worry about money, I have money." P. Diddy expensed lavish vacations for him and Cassie and purchased a car for her, paid for her apartment, provided her with extensive amounts of designer clothing. Okay, so he's love bombing and just showering her in gifts, at which point it makes it difficult for her to not accept. Got it. Around 2008 or 2009, P. Diddy began to rent an apartment in Manhattan for Cassie. The apartment was in walking distance of P. Diddy's New York residence. He first showed Cassie the apartment by bringing her there along with her parents. Cassie's parents were skeptical of P. Diddy's display of wealth, but proud of their daughter's newfound success. Around 2010, P. Diddy similarly paid for an apartment for Cassie in Los Angeles, which was located about 5 minutes away from P. Diddy's residence. He paid for many of the apartments in California and also purchased a Jaguar for her around 2013 or 2014. Aha, you see how we're creeping up to the year 2016. Remember how important I told y'all the year 2016 is to the statute of limitations on the criminal side of this debacle. All right. And it's really interesting that he always wants to keep her 5 minutes away from where he is. Nothing more than a control tactic by somebody that's pretty much 2 decades older than her. Quite disgusting. All aspects of Cassie's life were controlled by either P. Diddy or his management companies, and every event that Cassie attended, from the travel to the makeup and the clothing, was paid directly by P. Diddy and his affiliated companies. Compounding all of this encompassing intrusion into her life, P. Diddy secured his control over the young and impressionable Cassie by introducing her to a drug-fueled lifestyle and kept her complacent and compliant. P. Diddy first introduced Cassie to opioids in 2008. Lord have mercy. And would often have pills and other drugs out in the open like candy. Upon information and belief, P. Diddy had been addicted to prescription painkillers and took ecstasy frequently. At first, Cassie was given the prescription that P. Diddy received from a doctor in Miami, and eventually when P. Diddy exhausted his supply of the pills, he demanded that Cassie procure prescriptions from his Miami doctor in her own name. Oh my goodness. P. Diddy also became deeply involved with Cassie's personal life, with his personal staff attending Cassie's day-to-day travel and other needs, including medical care. Here's where we get into the part of the HIPAA violations. On multiple occasions, P. Diddy had Cassie's personal medical records sent directly to his email address. For instance, when Cassie began experiencing memory loss, potentially due to excessive drug use and head injuries caused by P. Diddy's beatings, as described below, her MRI results were provided directly to Mr. Combs. Mr. Combs also repeatedly arranged for his staff to drive Cassie to certain doctor's appointments. I mean, you can't make this up. You really can't. This is absurd. In this way, P. Diddy exerted ownership over Cassie as another example of the ways in which he manipulated Cassie, ensured obedience early on in their relationship, and he asked Cassie what she called her grandfather. What? When Cassie said that she referred to her grandfather as Pop Pop, P. Diddy perversely insisted that Cassie refer to him with that nickname. Girl.
This is a sick Negro.
This is worse than Monique calling Sydney daddy every day. This is worse than... What do you call your grandfather? That would gross me out so much. Oh, Lord, have mercy. This is very perverse. This is very perverse.
Why?
Now we get into the next part. P. Diddy and Cassie's relationship becomes violent and abusive. What started as a whirlwind of celebrity meetings and drug and alcohol-fueled parties, however, quickly turned frightening and violent. Cassie also exposed, Cassie was also exposed to the intense violence that pervaded P. Diddy's rise to fame. For example, on one occasion when P. Diddy and Cassie were using drugs together in his home, one of his security staff barged in and announced that Suge Knight, oh baby, not Suge Knight, Suge Knight, announced that Suge Knight, a longtime rival of P. Diddy, was spotted, I done lost my spot, was spotted at Mel's Drive-In Diner in Los Angeles. P. Diddy began to get dressed, retrieved multiple guns from a safe, and ran out of his home to where he believed Suge Knight was dining. I know he didn't think he could handle Suge Knight. Cassie became terrified and began to cry. I would too. Why would you think you could handle Suge Knight? Oh my goodness. On the last two occasions, P. Diddy demanded that Cassie hold on the last two occasions, P. Diddy demanded that Cassie hold his guns in her purse. Cassie had no familiarity with guns and was petrified that the firearm would accidentally go off in her purse. There was no clear reason why P. Diddy required her to hold his guns except to reinforce to his young girlfriend that he was violent, powerful, and dangerous. Child. Over the next decade, multiple times each year, P. Diddy would violently beat Cassie, leaving bruises on her body. After every instance in which he beat Cassie, P. Diddy used his money and power to orchestrate extensive efforts to hide the evidence of his abuse, including by hiding Cassie in hotels for days at a time to let her bruises heal. In one such instance, after a party with Jay-Z, oh baby, we got Jay-Z up in the paperwork too. All right. In one such instance, after a party with Jay-Z, P. Diddy beat Cassie repeatedly in an Escalade, including by kicking and hitting her. She has such a tiny frame, and she's a woman. He forced her out of the vehicle on Fifth Avenue in New York City, and she eventually was able to hail a cab to get to her apartment in Manhattan, where she cried in fear, realizing there was no one that she could tell about what happened at the hands of an incredibly powerful man. She spent the subsequent 3 days hiding in her apartment. In January of 2009, P. Diddy learned that Cassie spoke to another music manager at a party in LA, and he became enraged. She had hoped that speaking to this manager would allow her to further grow her career and that P. Diddy would be happy for her. I guess she felt like she was networking, huh? But instead, he became extremely angry and pulled her out of the club where the party was taking place. Now, in the car leaving the club, P. Diddy beat Cassie, pushing her into the corner of the vehicle and stomping on her face. Oh, Lord have mercy. P. Diddy's security staff, Roger Bonds, tried to stop the beating but was unable to de-escalate the situation. When the car arrived at P. Diddy's residence, Cassie attempted to run away, but P. Diddy followed her and proceeded to kick her in the face. Cassie was bleeding profusely and was ushered into P. Diddy's home, where she began to throw up from the violent assault. Lord have mercy. Surviving P. Diddy, child. The time is here. It ain't never stuck, but I hope it sticks now. Let me go to the bush, because I just can't imagine being kicked in the face, let alone by a man, over and over again.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
So she's throwing up because of the assault, and upon recognizing the damage that he had done and the physical evidence of his abuse, P. Diddy panicked and forced his staff to bring Cassie to a hotel suite at the London Hotel in LA, where she was required to stay for a week. During this stay, as her injuries from the beating healed, Cassie began to fully realize that P. Diddy's tremendously loyal network not only knew about and witnessed this assault, but also that these witnesses were not willing to do anything meaningful to stop P. Diddy's behavior. She recognized that she was powerless and that reporting P. Diddy to the authorities would not alter his status or influence, but would merely give P. Diddy another excuse to hurt her. While in the hotel, Cassie asked to go to her parents' house, but P. Diddy wouldn't let her leave. She lied to her mother when asked about an online gossip forum that reported the assault. P. Diddy proceeded to instruct his assistants to purchase excessive amounts of gifts for Cassie, which were delivered to the hotel room where she remained trapped. Cassie was terrified, she was isolated, and she was unable to see a pathway out of P. Diddy's abusive hold on her life. She found herself becoming numb to the abuse that she was experiencing and became entirely beholden to P. Diddy's demands. She began to blindly follow his instructions out of fear of again being on the receiving end of a vicious beating. By P. Diddy's own admission, his relationship with Cassie was like Bobby and Whitney. What? Oh, really? A clear acknowledgement of the unequal power dynamic and the excessive domestic violence that permeated their relationship. From the outside looking in, Cassie had heard others refer to her relationship with P. Diddy as akin to Ike and Tina. Yeah, I could agree. Her volatile and abusive partner who also owned her label and therefore held her future success in his hands, had fully exerted control over every aspect of her life. P. Diddy forces Cassie into sex trafficking. Lord have mercy. Whew. Within a few months of beginning a romantic relationship with 40-year-old P. Diddy, the 22-year-old Cassie felt beholden to his whims and demands. And while in New York City, P. Diddy told Cassie that he wanted to engage in a fantasy called voyeurism. Oh gosh, I know what voyeurism is because I've seen this. It's this Netflix documentary about that. Fantasy called voyeurism. P. Diddy said that it would turn him on if he saw Cassie with another with another penis. Well, this says dick, but the first time P. Diddy hired a man and brought the man into the home of the in Los Angeles. The man, P. Diddy, and Cassie wore masquerade masks and ingested drugs. P. Diddy directed Cassie to perform sexual acts with this man while P. Diddy watched them. So he got male prostitutes in there making them have sex with his girl. He masturbated. Jesus. He masturbated while he directed Cassie and the man to do specific sexual acts. The entire encounter lasted multiple days. Multiple days? What's wrong with these people? P. Diddy began to call the arrangement a freak off or FO. He would repeatedly tell Cassie at random moments that he wanted to FO, and Cassie was eventually expected to facilitate the location and hiring of the male sex workers. At certain points during Cassie and P. Diddy's relationship, he would insist on a freak-offs weekly, and P. Diddy would repeatedly tell Cassie that this practice was our thing and our secret. The freak-offs will often take place in the hotel suites, include the Trump International Hotel. You know what? The stuff that be going on at the Trump International, because R. Kelly was living up in the damn Trump.
Oh my God.
This is disgusting. The freak-offs would often take place in hotel suites, including at the Trump International Hotel in Beverly Hills, the London Hotel in Los Angeles, the Intercontinental Century City, Atlanta, New York City, the One Hotel in New York and Miami, the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in New York and in Miami, Beverly Hills, the Shutters, lots of different hotels, okay? On one occasion around 2013, P. Diddy had a freak-off set up at the Intercontinental Hotel in New York City, after which he was charged with tens of thousands of dollars in damages upon information and belief that P. Diddy's chief of staff, Tony Fletcher, paid the invoice charged by the hotel. Now, Cassie was eventually instructed to use websites and escort services to find male sex workers or prostitutes to participate in the freak-offs, and P. Diddy told Cassie to search for large black penises. Lord, on the website. Sometimes P. Diddy would pay to fly male sex workers to his location, including multiple cities in the United States as well as abroad. He required Cassie and his staff to help him make these arrangements. P. Diddy's assistants would help to set up the freak-offs, including by setting up the hotel suites with baby oil and Astroglide. You know what? This is a bit much. Oh. Okay. Okay.
Out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that?
P. Diddy always supplied Cassie and the sex workers with copious amounts of drugs before and during the freak-offs. Cassie was given ecstasy, cocaine, GHB. What is GHB? Ketamine. What is ketamine? Marijuana and alcohol in excessive amounts during the freak-offs, which allowed her to disassociate during the horrific encounters. If anybody knows what GHB or ketamine is, please let me know in the comments. What the hell is that? I told you he wanted to get her zooted and booted so that she was so out of it that she couldn't, fight him off, turn him away, say no. Oh, rave drugs. Oh. P. Diddy always supplied Cassie and the sex worker with copious amounts of drugs before and during the freak-offs. Cassie was given ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and alcohol in excessive amounts during the freak-offs, which allowed her to disassociate during these horrific encounters. It became a commonplace to get IV fluids in the days after. It became commonplace to get IV fluids in the days after a freak-off to recover from the excessive substances pushed upon her. Tranquilizer, grape drug. Okay. So ketamine is a tranquilizer, and I guess the other one, the GHB, is like a date rape. Wow. Cassie was required to dress up in lingerie for a freak-off, and P. Diddy insisted that she wear white nail polish to contrast her nails with the skin of the black men hired to have sex with her. During the freak-offs, P. Diddy would instruct Cassie to pour excessive amounts of oil on herself. Wow. P. Diddy would then instruct Cassie and the sex workers to speak to each other and would specifically tell Cassie where to touch the sex workers. P. Diddy would say things like, grab that big black dick, oh my God, and ask her, how does it feel? As he directed her to perform for him. Jesus. Oh, wow. During the freak-offs, in addition to directing Cassie and masturbating, P. Diddy would use his phone, his laptop, and his tablet to film Cassie having sex with the hired sex worker. He treated the forced encounter as a personal project, adjusting the candles he used for lighting to frame the videos. If this does not sound like the shit that Robert was doing, I don't know what does. This is the exact shit that R. Kelly was doing. Oh, this is crazy. While Cassie quickly deleted any photographs or video of sex acts if they were taken on her phone, P. Diddy repeatedly made it clear that he retained many videos of Cassie during the freak-offs. Even when she deleted the videos, P. Diddy would tell Cassie that he was able to recover deleted videos from her devices. On one occasion, he sat next to her on a flight and made her watch a video she thought she had deleted, reinforcing her inability to escape and the immense power that he held over her. P. Diddy would pay the male sex workers a few $1,000s in cash for their services. During some of the freak-offs, P. Diddy would become extremely intoxicated and would hit Cassie in front of the male prostitutes. Cassie was repulsed by P. Diddy's demands, but between the physical beatings and the recognizing his incredible power and incredible temper, Cassie became petrified of her partner and boss and felt that she couldn't say no. He even would present her with lavish gifts prior to or in the middle of the freak-off, seemingly acknowledging the ways in which those forced sexual encounters constituted as work for Cassie, and that he needed to compensate her in one way, shape, or form for this work. And at one point, he had given her so many designer bracelets for the freak-offs, and immediately following his brutal beatings, that she felt that she was shackled by his presence. Frequently, her anxiety before freak-offs would become so great that she would become physically ill, sometimes to the point of vomiting. While kneeling over the toilet, P. Diddy would shame her into performing for him, eventually forcing her to get up and proceed with the encounter. Wow, 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 wow. She knew firsthand that telling P. Diddy that she didn't want to engage in the freak-offs was met with anger and violence. In addition, any suggestion that Cassie would refuse a freak off or otherwise report P. Diddy's abuse was met with ultimatums by P. Diddy, who would say that Cassie could not go to the police because she had a, quote, lot to lose. Around August of 2015, we're getting closer to 2016. Around August of 2015, for example, the middle of the surprise birthday party, in the middle of Cassie's surprise 29th birthday party, P. Diddy insisted that Cassie leave the party and go to a hotel for a freak off. When she expressed that she didn't want to go, P. Diddy had Cassie cornered by his security staff in order to force her to leave with him. Wow. After this freak off, P. Diddy and Cassie went back to the hotel room that Cassie was staying in, where some of Cassie's friends were already hanging out, and P. Diddy was severely intoxicated. And at one point during the night, he picked up one of Cassie's friends like a child and dangled her over the balcony of the 17th floor of the hotel suite. Oh my God. Dangled her off of the 17th floor? Cassie and her friends were scared by P. Diddy's erratic behavior, but Cassie was heavily sedated because of the drugs she took to participate in the freak-off and therefore was unable to respond to the terrifying behavior. The freak-offs became work for Cassie, and despite her not wanting to do so, P. Diddy insisted that these intricately staged forced sexual encounters between Cassie and various male sex workers continue. This is low-key, it's unbelievable, but it is believable. I mean, I don't want to say it's unbelievable. It's shocking. It's shocking is what it is. Thank you so much, Journey, for the $5 super chat. I do appreciate it. Vlad revealed a couple months ago that R. Kelly wanted to reveal other celebs in an interview, but Vlad turned the interview down. R. Kelly was trying to snitch. Oh, Vlad know what it is. He doesn't want to disappear. He doesn't want to disappear. Interesting. Also, shout out to Karen J for rejoining the membership, and shout out to Tracy for rejoining the membership. I appreciate y'all support so much. We will be backstage later on today. All right, let's continue with this paperwork. Okay, so Cassie tries to escape P. Diddy's abuse. Anytime she tried to create distance between herself and P. Diddy, he used networks to find her and convince her to return to his abuse. On multiple occasions, P. Diddy sent his employees to lure Cassie back. In 2011, during a rough patch in P. Diddy and Cassie's relationship, Cassie had a brief relationship with musician Kid Cudi. Now we get into the stuff. When P. Diddy returned from a trip, he demanded another freak off of Cassie and she, okay? During this freak off, P. Diddy found Cassie's phone and found emails between her and Kid Cudi, and P. Diddy became enraged and proceeded to place a manual corkscrew between his fingers. Whoa, and lunged at Cassie. Oh, I know exactly what that looks like. That's dangerous. A corkscrew can kill somebody. manual one anyway. Cassie ran away to stay at Kid Cudi's house to escape P. Diddy's wrath. And soon thereafter, one of P. Diddy's staff members told Cassie that he needed to just talk to P. Diddy, even though P. Diddy was enraged. Feeling like she couldn't escape P. Diddy and his network of enforcers, Cassie returned to P. Diddy. He hit her several times and then kicked her in the back as she tried to run out of the door. She went to her parents' home in Connecticut, where her mother took pictures of the bruises that P. Diddy had left on her body. In February of 2012, during Paris Fashion Week, P. Diddy told Cassie that he was going to blow up Kid Cudi's car and that he wanted to ensure that Kid Cudi was home with his friends when it happened. Around that time, Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. If you don't remember me telling you earlier, if you're late getting here and haven't hit the thumbs up button or subscribe, make sure you do so. But I was telling you earlier, Kid Cudi did come out and substantiate these claims. He confirmed that his vehicle was in fact blown up in his driveway while his friends were in the driveway within a week span of when Diddy had threatened to blow his car up. So whether he did it directly or not, or whether he sent somebody over there to do it, he made good on that promise that he was going to blow up Kid Cudi's car. And shout out to Kid Cudi for actually speaking up and confirming this. Whew. Cassie was terrified. She began to fully comprehend what P. Diddy was both willing and able to do to those he believed had slighted him. In 2015, Cassie spoke to a popular music manager at an after party in a hotel suite in Las Vegas. P. Diddy saw her speaking to this manager and sternly told her to step into the bedroom adjoining the suite. In the bedroom, P. Diddy beat Cassie severely. She ran from corner to corner of the room trying to avoid P. Diddy's beating and kicking. When she tried to lock herself in the bathroom, he pushed through and punched and kicked her while she curled up under the toilet. Her screams were drowned out by the loud music playing in the outside area of the hotel suite. When P. Diddy's head of security and assistant saw Cassie after the assault, they began to cry. Well, what you crying for? If you ain't helping, don't cry. Shit, keep your tears to yourself unless you're willing to do something to help me get out of this. Cassie had 2 black eyes, a burst and bruised lip, and a huge welt on her forehead. Upon seeing the results of his vicious attack, P. Diddy immediately took steps to conceal his wrongdoing. He forced Cassie to stay at his home along with one of his sons. I wonder which son that was. While there, P. Diddy FaceTimed Cassie and stated, "You gotta go up and put on more makeup so my son can't see you like this. My son can't see you like that." She did put makeup on per P. Diddy's demands, and she felt that she had no choice but to obey her abuser, even though security guards, assistants, and friends saw the situation that she was in, and no one dared to help her or speak up on her behalf. She therefore had no choice but to remain subservient. Later in 2015, while shooting a movie in Cape Town, South Africa, Cassie began a flirtatious relationship with an actor. She spent New Year's Eve with this actor, but P. Diddy soon found out, and P. Diddy called the actor and threatened him. The actor proceeded to call Cassie and tell her, "You really need to call P. Diddy." In or around March of 2016, during a freak-off at a hotel in Los Angeles, P. Diddy became extremely intoxicated and punched Cassie in the face, giving her a black eye. Lord have mercy. After he fell asleep, Cassie tried to leave the hotel room, but as she exited, P. Diddy woke up and began screaming at her. He followed her into the hallway of the hotel while yelling at her. He grabbed her, then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her, causing glass to crash around them as she ran to the elevator to escape. She managed to get into the elevator, and when she got to the lobby, quickly took a cab to her apartment. Upon realizing that running away would cause P. Diddy to be even angrier with her and completely stuck in his vicious cycle of abuse, Cassie returned to the hotel with the intent of apologizing for running away from her abuser. When she returned, hotel security staff urged her to get back into the cab and to go to her apartment, suggesting that they had seen security footage showing P. Diddy beating Cassie and throwing glass at her in the hotel hallway. Upon information and belief that P. Diddy paid $50,000 for the hallway security footage for that evening. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, thank you so much, Tony, for the $10 super chat. I do appreciate it. This is sick. This is sick. After this, Cassie left her home and went to hide away at a friend's house in Florida. James Cruz, president of Bad Boy Management, tracked Cassie down and told her that her single would not be released if she didn't answer P. Diddy's phone calls. A woman who worked at Sony Music reached out to her with a similar ultimatum concerning her record. Incredibly, P. Diddy even convinced one of the attorneys to call Cassie at this time. And this lawyer told Cassie that it's in your best interest to call P. Diddy back. Each time Cassie tried to run away, P. Diddy and his powerful network would force her back to him. P. Diddy's tight hold over her life had irreparably damaged her friendships. And around 2018, when she was with her friend Carrie Morgan in her house, P. Diddy used his key to her house and came in unannounced. He and Miss Morgan had an altercation. During which P. Diddy threw a hanger at Miss Morgan. Upon information and belief, the incident resulted in a settlement between P. Diddy and Miss Morgan, and Cassie ended up paying Miss Morgan additional funds in an attempt to resolve the dispute between her close friend and her abusive and controlling boyfriend. Ain't that something? She's got to pay for his abuse to her friend, not just him. This is diabolical. The relationship between Cassie and Miss Morgan has been strained since this time. Seeing the extreme measures that P. Diddy took to keep a tight hold on Cassie and isolate her from her support network, and having experienced the repercussions of rejecting his demands, Cassie felt that saying no to P. Diddy would cost her something: her family, her friends, her career, or maybe even her life. P. Diddy, oh Lord, it gets worse. P. Diddy rapes Cassie. 2017 and 2018, Cassie became desperate to leave P. Diddy and his abuse of her. She recognized that if she stayed with him, she would never be able to have a successful career ever, or be physically and mentally safe. She therefore became determined to completely break away from P. Diddy and his cycle of abuse, and made a concerted effort efforts to avoid him in September. So this sounds like, now I'm not sure if this was taking place in California or New York. Remember, we were going over the Adult Survivors Act, and we were going over the statute of limitations. The criminal statute of limitations in New York is 7 years, which would take us back to 2016. What she's outlining is 2017 and 2018. Sounds like it's within the statute of limitations to me, but let's keep reading. In September of 2018, she joined P. Diddy for dinner at an Italian restaurant in Malibu, California. Okay, California. But what she believed, she does have a criminal case in California, for what she believed would be a discussion about concluding their relationship for good. After dinner, P. Diddy and Cassie returned to her home, which was paid for by P. Diddy. P. Diddy forced himself into her apartment and tried to kiss her. She told him to stop and attempted to push him away. P. Diddy then forcibly pulled off her clothing and unbuckled his belt and proceeded to rape her, while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. Soon thereafter, Cassie took steps to completely separate herself from her long-time abuser, including by leaving the home that he paid for and returning the car he purchased for her. Despite moving away, Cassie's address was posted online in early 2019, leading to fears for her safety. Cassie, who was under immense duress during the months after P. Diddy raped her, took all the steps possible to entirely remove herself from her abuser's ambit, including by entering into contracts to end her record deal with Bad Boy Entertainment. So now we're getting into the portion where P. Diddy's sexual and physical abuse of Cassie has caused her lifelong harm. Ooh. This is sick. This is sick. This is a lot to go through, especially early in the morning. Do me a favor, just hit the thumbs up button. There's about 500 people here. We got 257 likes. Just hit the thumbs up button, okay? Cash apps are not required. They are appreciated, not required. But just pay your fare on my bus by hitting the thumbs up button. Let's continue with this paperwork. As a result of the immense trauma that Cassie endured over a decade with P. Diddy, she has suffered and continues to suffer from immense emotional distress. Following her escape from the cycle of abuse and sex trafficking that she endured, she struggled with the physical and mental manifestations of her trauma. The birth of her 2 children, however, allowed her a new lease on life and gave her purpose. She credits her children with saving her from the trauma that had consumed her for over a decade of her life. Except for the months when she was pregnant with her children, Cassie struggled with her addictions to drugs and alcohol, addictions that were established and fueled by P. Diddy. She turned to substances to drown out the memories of her abuse. Without being intoxicated, she suffered from horrific nightmares of the forced sexual acts that P. Diddy demanded she participate in during the regularly scheduled freak-offs and the physical beatings that she endured throughout her relationship. She had difficulty eating and sleeping, and her relationships with her family suffered. During this time, she frequently had thoughts of ending her life. To rebuild her life and her career, Cassie needed to completely reinvent herself. She checked herself into an inpatient treatment at a rehabilitation center where she first confronted the extent of the trauma she lives with. She has required intensive therapy and other medical care to recover from P. Diddy's abuse, and she will forever live with the physical and psychological repercussions of the over a decade of violence, fear, and exploitation that she endured. Although Cassie was unable to speak up against the years of abuse she endured at the hands of P. Diddy, she has since been able to rebuild her life and confront her trauma. Thanks to the passage of the New York's Adult Survivors Act and California's Sexual Abuse Accountability and Cover-Up Act, she is now able and ready to confront her abuser and to hold him accountable and those who enabled his abuse for their actions. Good for her. Good for her. This sounds, this sounds crazy, okay? It just sounds completely unbearable. Thank you, Rosalind, and thank you, McCutcheon, for the Cash App. I do appreciate that. Okay. First cause of action. Okay, some of this stuff seems a little repetitive. Plaintiff repeats and realleges each and every allegation in all of the preceding paragraphs. Sean Combs participated in sex trafficking of Cassie by requiring her to engage in forced sexual acts in multiple jurisdictions, and all of the defendants benefited from P. Diddy's venture by holding Cassie, an artist signed with Bad Boy Records and otherwise employed by him. The defendant corporations have financially and otherwise benefited as a result of these acts and omissions by keeping P. Diddy the volatile and explosive owner of said businesses. They benefited from facilitating his behavior to the extent it kept the music mogul happy and kept Cassie obedient to P. Diddy and his corporation and businesses' interests. He formed a venture, it's just mumbo jumbo. As a direct and proximate result of the defendant's unlawful conduct as alleged here and above, the plaintiff has suffered physical injury and severe emotional distress and anxiety, humiliation, embarrassment, post-traumatic stress disorder, economic harm, and other consequential damages. Plaintiff also seeks reasonable attorney's fees as provided under U.S. Code 1595A. The second cause of action, violation of the New York Services for Victims of Human Trafficking. Okay, we already read through this in the beginning. This is kind of repetitive from the beginning. Let's see. As a direct and proximate result of his conduct, she suffered physical injury, emotional distress. Okay. Repetitive. California realleges. This stuff is also pretty redundant as well. Fourth cause of action, sexual battery. Repeats and realleges. In performing the conduct described above, the defendant, P. Diddy, committed battery against Cassie because he intentionally engaged in unlawful, intentional, and offensive touching and application of force onto Cassie's person. Actions amount to violations under New York penal law, as well as California law and the common law of New York and California. As a result of P. Diddy's conduct, she suffered injury, damages, malicious. The conduct of P. Diddy described was willful, malicious. At all relevant times, P. Diddy acted with conscious disregard of Cassie's rights and feelings, acted with the knowledge, reckless disregard for the fact that his conduct was certain to cause injury or humiliation, fear, physical injury, or pain. Recover punitive and exemplary damages from P. Diddy according to proof at trial. $30 million and lawyers' fees. Fifth cause of action, sexual assault pursuant to California's. Okay. Stuff is kind of redundant too. A little redundant. Seventh cause of action, baby, they're going to get him. If they can connect some of these crimes with other crimes, he could get a RICO if all these people enabled him around him. Think about it. That's how Robert went down. That's exactly how R. Kelly went down. Sexual harassment, hostile work environment, okay? Gender including but not limited to. Subjecting Cassie to discriminatory treatment based on her gender, including but not limited to subjecting her to sexual assault and or harassment, rape in a hostile work environment. Damages. Eighth cause of action, gender discrimination. Okay, prayer for relief. Wherefore the plaintiff, Cassie, prays judgment to be entered in her favor against defendants, and each of them follows. Okay, for money judgment representing for him to compensate for damages, including consequential damages, lost wages, earning, and all other sums of money, together with interest on these amounts, according to the proof. For money judgment for mental pain and anguish, severe emotional distress, according to proof. For punitive and exemplary damages, according to proof. Attorney's fees, prejudgment and post-judgment interest for such and other further relief as the court may deem just and proper. Baby. Oh my. If that wasn't something... People in the chat are saying Quincy or Justin might start talking. I really hope that they force people to testify. You either going to lie under oath or you know, who knows, right? I just hope that they got some good proof. And I mean, if they've got good proof with the criminal case that he is the subject of with this secret investigation up in New York City, they're saying they have substantial proof and they're looking for more victims because they in fact know that other victims exist. If they have proof in that case, the New York Police Department, in a criminal case, then some of that criminal proof or evidence might be able to lend itself over to this case and substantiate, because clearly a lot of the things that are being alleged here in this civil case are criminal. It's just a matter of filing a civil case and a criminal case, which are two different things, right? So this is going to be messy for sure, but you know, I'm going to be following it. just like I do with all of my court cases. I'm very thorough. I don't rush to be first. This story literally dropped about 13 hours ago. It was 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over here in Maryland. And I didn't rush to go live at 6:15 or 6:30 or 7 o'clock to be first. No, I wanted to have a comprehensive understanding. I wanted to digest it, understand it forwards and backwards, and be able to regurgitate it to you all and relay it to you in a way that made sense. Because again, legal terminology, it can just be overwhelming and just turn into mumbo jumbo, but people just don't understand it. So that's my due diligence with delivering you all content, especially when it comes to court documents, because it's less about my commentary. It's more about being actual and factual about what is actually being alleged here, right? Factual allegations. Not that I was there to witness if any of this is fact, and not that I'm doubting it, right? But the factual allegations being everything that's in these court documents, the statute of limitations, and let you all know what some of the different possibilities are within this entire debacle. So, wow, I don't even know what to think. My head is spinning because this was a bit more egregious than I thought it was going to be. I'm not even going to hold you. This was a bit more egregious than I thought it was going to be. And it seems eerily similar to R. Kelly, which is, it's grossing me out. It's grossing me out. Real bad. Grossing me out. But, you know, I'll be following it. I gave y'all all of the facts. If you are getting here late, be sure to rewind the video. We went over a timeline from different people, from Al B. Shore to Cassie's former assistant, from Don Richard, from Aubrey O'Day. All types of people are speaking, from Kid Cudi. There's so many, from Young Jock. There's so many people speaking out and detailing just how abusive he has been. I'm shook that Suge Knight and Jay-Z came up in this paperwork. Like, what? And you know Suge Knight gonna get wind of this. And you know Suge Knight is starting a podcast while he's still in jail. So what is Suge Knight gonna do? Suge Knight ain't gotta be out to get you. He got people out here to do his bidding for him. So this is it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. It really is. But I'm gonna follow this to the T. I find it too, I like covering court cases, even though they may be grotesque. And I have to mind my own mental health, but it's something that I like to do. And it's something that you all enjoy and request from me a lot. So that's what we're going to do. Again, final question that I pass off to you all, is, do you think that P. Diddy's career and or his reputation will be able to recover from this? It seems like there's so much coming out. You got this civil suit, you've got the criminal investigation open as well. So the civil thing might go to trial, the criminal thing, everything that's going on with the Tupac case reopening, and Keefe D speaking out, talking out. He's caught up in a lot of legal stuff right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if he truly recovers. He got that Lifetime Achievement Award. Do you think Carisha's going to leave? You think Young Miami is going to stay after hearing and reading all of this stuff? Do you think he ever treated Carisha this way? Why? Why not? I pass the question off to you. You know, P. Diddy is one of those people who always evades accountability. And he never really deals with the repercussions of his decades. Oh, Leo, you scared me. Damn, I didn't know you went up there. Diddy is never held accountable for his actions. He's never held accountable for his actions. He's got enough money to pay people to go away, but will it work this time? And when you've got a celebrity caught up in something that's more than just slapping a random person at Walmart, a lot of times these jurisdictions, these states, they want to make an example out of you. The district attorneys, these different whatever, if they can nail a P. Diddy, that's going to put this attorney on the map. So they begin to salivate over trying to catch you. And these rumors have been following. I'm talking sexual misconduct from allegedly, right? From P. Diddy to women over the years have been circulating. Sexual misconduct from Diddy and men, males and or boys have been circulating over the years. So these cops and these district attorneys and these prosecutors, they are salivating at the opportunity to put themselves on the map. Imagine if you were an attorney and you were able to prosecute successfully a P. Diddy or an R. Kelly. It literally will make and catapult your career into the next dimension. So I guarantee you they're more than likely working overtime trying to get this. And I'm not sure if he has enough money to pay for this to go away. I think that this might actually be the beginning of the downfall of P. Diddy, Brother Love, Sean Combs, whatever you want to call him. That's just my thought, but hey, Stickies, I pass the question off to you. What do you think? Be sure to keep it sticky and real down below in them comments. I cannot believe I just read all these pages to y'all. My throat feels even worse than it felt in the beginning because I'm a little sick, drinking my Theraflu mixed with hot tea. But it was worth it for y'all, okay? Oh. So I got to rest my throat a little bit, but I do plan on being live for you all later today, behind and outside of the paywall. So for the channel members, we'll be live backstage kicking it. And I do plan on putting out either live or edited content for you all later today. So I plan on getting a lot done today on this Friday. Happy November 17th. Why is Thanksgiving next week? Like, why? How? November just started 2 days ago. Like, how is this? Tomorrow's Christmas. Like, what is happening? But anyway, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday. Happy Friday. I hope that you are in an amazing mood. I know that this was some really heavy stuff, but a lot of nosy people, we wanted the info. And I know y'all wanted me to go over it. So I will be covering Keke Palmer today. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it behind the paywall or not, but y'all know I've got to talk about it. Y'all know I've got to talk about Keke Palmer. And I think I might do a call-in show for that one. So still kind of deciding and working through my morning. I've been up all night, but that's okay. That's okay. It's still early. What are your final thoughts and unanswered questions pertaining to this entire debacle concerning P. Diddy and Cassie and everybody else mentioned, Carisha? I pass the question off to you. Where do you land with this? Be sure to tag me in all of your favorite trending topics on Instagram and on Twitter. Please feel free to DM me on Instagram or on Twitter. If you see anything popping off, I do have some free time today. I am working from home, but my workload isn't too heavy today, so I can kind of get some stuff done. So thank you for watching. Be sure to check the community tab. Shout out to the Shade Room for reposting my tweet. All right. Thank y'all for putting up with the bus being late today. Y'all know I had to go pick up Carisha from Diddy house. All right. On my way to come pick y'all up. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. Don't forget to subscribe for more Black news and celebrity updates over here on the Black News Bus. Subscribe to the backup channel as well. I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So just shout out to all of y'all for being here. Okay. I need to go blow my nose. I need to go make some more hot tea. Don't forget to do something to decompress today. Don't forget to drop a comment, even if you're chasing the bus, which means that you are catching the replay. Okay. If there's a story you want me to cover, don't forget to send it to me. And listen, be sure to subscribe and thumbs up or down. Either way, I truly do appreciate it. But be sure to hit the notification bell, all right, so that you don't miss out on any of this celebrity or trending syrup, because you know things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. Drop some pancake emojis down below. And don't forget to stay beautiful, Black, and blessed. I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Deuces. But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe by hitting that little circle in the middle of the screen, or I'll catch you in one of these rectangles to the right in another video. I'll see you there.